Back in the building, and all alone and tied up, Carla was reaching for the knife next to her foot. She struggled reaching for it, trying as hard as she could to get it, when she suddenly heard a noise. She looked on, horrified, seeing a lone zombie coming from the door, heading towards her. Carla luckily grabbed a knife. She tried to cut the ropes and free herself, but the walker was close, and there was too little time. He was right in front of her. "Get away!" she screamed. She then cut the rope on her side as the walker was mere feet from her. She got her arm free as the walker grabbed her. She pried her arm free and slid it out as she swiftly stabbed it in the head, stopping it from biting her. Its face stopped right in front of hers as she forcefully pulled the knife out. It dropped dead, falling backwards as she took several deep breaths. 1400 hours. We see Rachel in the hospital room. "Are you absolutely sure, Dr. Roberts?" "I'm 100% certain, Rachel. The results confirm it," she told her. Rachel was dumbfounded. "Are you okay? Do you need a moment?" she asked. "Yes, please, thank you. I need a moment to think," she told the doctor. She nodded, leaving Rachel all alone. Sometime later, we see Carla going to the receptionist. "Hi, excuse me, is Rachel Hunter here?" she asked. "She is, but she's not to be disturbed," she told her. "I'm sorry, but this is important. It concerns her husband. You know, the leader of the city," she told her. After that statement, Carla was allowed inside. The door slowly opened. "Hey, Rachel, are you in here?" she asked. She looked, seeing that Rachel was down. Rachel was surprised as a piece of paper slipped onto the floor. "Carla, what are you doing here?" she asked. "I was going to ask if you were too busy, if we can hang out, but I see this might be a bad time," she said. Carla saw the piece of paper on the ground. "Oh, here, let me get that for you." "No, wait!" she screamed. "What is it?" "What is this?" she asked, holding it. Rachel grabbed it, taking it swiftly from her, ripping it from her hand. "You shouldn't be here," she told her. "Nice to see you too, Rachel," she said back. "I'm sorry. I'm happy to see you, it's just," she said as Carla sat down next to her. She was nervous. For 5 minutes, the two young women wouldn't look at one another, as Rachel was clutching the paper. "So, how long did you..." she asked. Rachel was hesitant to answer and took a deep breath. "Since last month. I took a tester, but it had a chance of inaccuracy, so I wanted to make sure before anyone else found out. Especially Benjamin," she said, as Rachel held the paper. A sonogram. Carla spoke up. "So, you're..." "I am pregnant," she said, shocking Carla. Carla's face exploded in emotion. "I didn't want to get his hopes up if I wasn't," she said, nervous. Carla hugged her hard. "Congratulations, Rachel! You're going to be a mother! You and Benjamin are going to be amazing parents! I can't wait!" she said, excited. Rachel didn't return the hug, as Rachel felt dead. Carla noticed it. "Hey, why aren't you incredibly happy at this? Why aren't you smiling? This is great news! This is the best news ever!" she shouted. Carla watched as Rachel was still not saying anything. "Rachel, what's wrong?" she asked, concerned. "I'm sorry, I guess I just didn't expect this actually happening to me," she said, worried. "I don't know how I'm gonna do this, even with Benjamin helping me." "Hey, don't be nervous. Grace had her baby months ago. We can still have kids. We're not going extinct," she told her. "No, that's not what I mean," Rachel said. "I'm not Grace. I'm a twig compared to her. I'm what, maybe 5'2"? I'm tiny. What if I can't do it? What if I can't deliver this baby? What if I'm not strong enough again? She asked. We'll help you get through it, she told her, but she didn't seem convinced. Rachel, you're not that scared, troubled little girl in the woods from 2 years ago. You're a strong, confident, beautiful woman. You know, we had this talk after we pulled you from that horde. You've gotten so much stronger since then. You've killed and defended yourself. You protected us and are helping lead a massive community. But you still think you're that scared little girl. Bullshit! Enough believing in that complete bullshit, she told her. Rachel was surprised. She was being yelled at, but not like from before. She was being built up. You're smarter than me. Hell, you snuck into a CRM outpost and freaking saved me. You're a badass, Rachel. You're not just married to one. No one is more capable of having this baby than you. But what if, she said, when Carla interrupted her. She moved her hand and pinched Rachel very hard, making her shriek and ow. There's no what ifs. Don't make me do that again. There's only what we've done and will do. And you've proved you're stronger than any of us. And you will have this baby, you hear me? And you and Benjamin are going to love him. Or her. Whatever, she said. Just relax. Don't put any more stress on the baby. You stay here, and I'm gonna go get your man back here so he can make everything better and tell you to your face how damn awesome you are, alright? He said. Rachel began to cry, and she buried her face next to Carla, hugging her. Hey, I got you, she said. After several minutes, Rachel finally let go of an uncomfortable Carla. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying all that. I really needed to hear it. And thank you so much for being my best friend. I can always count on you to make me feel better, she said gratefully. Of course. You're like the younger sister I never had, she said back, as they held on to each other. Well, I guess I should be going then, she said, turning around until Rachel grabbed her arm. Wait, Carla? Can you please not let anyone else know? I want to tell just him when you come back, please, she said. Of course, but it might cost you, she told her. Cost me what? Rachel asked. You and Benjamin have to name one of your kids after me, demanding. Please, come on, I'll be such a great aunt, she begged. Rachel laughed, smiling at the request. Please, there'll be 2 Carlas. Although, things would get confusing if we both had the exact same name, Carla contemplated, making Rachel laugh. You're unbearable, you know that? She asked. I know. He says that too, Carla said, hugging her. Maybe that's a wake-up call? Rachel said. Maybe. But I'm gonna keep ignoring them. More fun, she said. So you're gonna take it easy until I get back? She asked. Doubtful. You know me, she said. I'll tell Benjamin on you. He'll come here and lift you off your feet. It's his baby too, she told her. I know. Please be safe, she said, as Carla left the room, waving to Rachel. In the garage, we see Carla, Sean, and Manny packing up in the garage. Taking magazines of ammunition, Manny looked at Carla's CRM uniform. You gonna wear that? Manny asked. Yeah, I think it's growing on me, she said. Yeah, it really suits you, he said, joking. That was bad even for you, she stated. I know, he said. Sean smiled as they all got inside. Thanks, Carla. You won't regret this, he told her. As everyone was all geared up, Adrian shouted, Opening the gate! He shouted as he moved it. Kate helped him as Carla took the wheel before proceeding to drive off away from the town and onto the road. Oh, 400 hours. It was early in the morning, very early, as a lone walker was in the middle of a road. The full moon was out, shined its lunar light on it. The roaring engines heard as the walker turned before a large van smashed against it, shattering it into 1,000 pieces of blood. Shh! It! Watch the damn road, dumbass! A soldier stated. Go to hell! Why don't you drive for a change? I've been doing it for 7 hours, he told him. Guys, enough! Someone said. How's the prisoner? One of them asked. Still knocked out and restrained, the other said. So what's the deal with this guy? The general rarely asks for anybody personally, the soldier said. No idea, but he better promote us for this, one stated. How close are we? He asked. Our ETA is 5 minutes. Let's radio in. A soldier got on the radio. Command? This is Sergeant Lewis. We're 5 minutes from arrival with precious cargo for General Miles. Requesting opening of Section Gate 3, approaching from the east side, over, he stated. Understood, Sergeant. Welcome back. We'll inform the General of your arrival. They drove the van past a tall steel gate, as they were in some sort of blocked-off town. After some time, they began approaching another road. This one was much cleaner. They drove past green grass and lampposts that were on. In the back of the van lay a bloody body. The man was not moving. Home sweet home, the soldier said, as he took a deep breath. The complex was massive as soldiers walked around. Massive steel walls surrounding multiple buildings, as the streets were all clean. The buildings had no broken windows, and posters lay everywhere. Join the Patriots. Fight Extinction. Every life counts. They drove downwards to an underground parking lot. In the back of the van, the man began twitching his fingers, then moving his hand. All right, let's get him to the general, he said, getting out. Let's get this done, Patriot said, opening the door. Suddenly, the door swung open from the inside as the soldiers fell back from the doors, bashing them. A man and a walker jumped out. The man, armed with his belt, jammed the sharp metal pin into a soldier's neck as the walker wrapped his arms around one of them before biting into him. Shit! A soldier screamed when the man grabbed another soldier. One of them grabbed his gun. The man twisted it off of him, headbutting him before taking the gun. A soldier aimed at him, firing his gun, but hit his comrade instead as the man used him as a human shield. His body blocked the shots as he aimed back before firing, killing 2 more soldiers. He then moved to the van for cover. I need help! A soldier screamed when he was shot in the leg. The man rolled from underneath the van and shot him quickly in the head. The walker kept eating the already dead soldier as Benjamin aimed his gun, killing him. Benjamin wiped the blood from his face as he took as much ammo as he could, stuffing them into his pockets. He had 2 rifles and 3 handguns on him. He then picked up some kind of card from a body and looked at the others, taking a few more. He then saw an alarm sound as a giant red light flashed. They knew he was here. Shh! It! Benjamin cursed, running to the back door. Multiple shots fired, requesting men by Gate 3, east side, a voice on the radio said. As he pulled on it, he realized it was locked. Benjamin then pulled out one of the cards he took and quickly swiped his card, giving a green light as the door opened. He quickly ran inside the building, not making a sound, as he closed the door behind him. Benjamin was inside the building, and he ran through the hallways as fast as he could as the alarm kept going off. For the first time in a very long time, Benjamin didn't know what to do. He was alone. He didn't know how many people and soldiers were here. He was trapped. Benjamin then quietly went through the hallways when he saw some soldiers and hid as the soldiers went past him. "Keep your eyes open," one of them said. Benjamin stepped forward, firing his gun, hitting two of them down. "He's over here!" They fired back as Benjamin moved backwards, when suddenly he turned and ducked as another soldier fired his gun. "I got the intruder! He's over here!" he screamed. "Lower level 1! He's in—" Bam! As Benjamin fired, hitting his chest, the man dropped down screaming. He then clutched his bleeding chest. The man tried to aim his gun, but Benjamin fired his gun again, killing him. Benjamin moved into another hallway, retreating. Benjamin checked his pocket and pulled out another card. He took it, unlocking another door before running into the stairwell. Benjamin moved forward, running when he saw something at the side, but he fired, shooting the opening. He moved forward and looked, seeing a dead soldier, as he saw something on his belt. He grabbed some canisters of smoke grenades. He heard the door open and threw one of them down at them as he moved further down the facility. In a room, several people were looking over several monitors as a hand pressed a button. The alarm stopped. "Wait, what are you doing?" a woman asked. "The alarms aren't helping much. They're not hearing him," the man said. "He's doing a lot better than I expected." Captain Dallas takes over. As Benjamin moved further in, he looked, seeing a camera in the hall. He went the other way before hearing a small footstep. It was faint, but he definitely heard it. He hid in one of the blind spots in the hallway. All was dark and quiet. He waited as the person was walking up to him. Benjamin moved forward as his would-be attacker and jumped out when she fell backwards, shrieking as her back hit the ground. Benjamin raced forward and covered her mouth, pinning her down with one arm. He shushed her as he looked to see if anyone heard her cry. She wasn't a soldier. She was wearing a lab coat. Even though it was dark and hard to tell, he saw the young woman around the age of perhaps 25 with auburn hair. She looked terrified. Benjamin leaned closer on her. "Don't try anything. Now listen to me. I don't want to hurt you, but my people are dead. Some of them are missing. Your people took me captive and locked me in a van for over 7 hours. So you better stay quiet, because I don't want to hurt you. But I swear I will if you don't stop and do what I say," he warned her. Benjamin picked her up as they went inside a room. Benjamin closed the door as he locked it and looked for any soldiers looking for him. They kept quiet as they passed by. "Hey," he said. "Come on, it's clear," he ordered. But he stopped her before grabbing a notepad from a counter, stealing it. As they moved quietly through the hall, not seeing anyone, they went into the staircase and closed the door. Benjamin wrote on the notepad, "Way out." The woman nodded and led the way as Benjamin stopped her for a second. He saw a name tag on her and took it. Dr. Alice Warren, emergency care doctor and necrotic specialist. He looked at it and urged her to keep moving. Alice listened on, terrified, as Benjamin continued to follow her. The hallways were so clean, but dark. As they continued moving, Benjamin looked for any cameras. What if this was a trap? He took Alice and used the notepad again. "Trap," he wrote. She nodded her head and began to write down lab, mine, and then wrote badge. Benjamin pulled it out and used it for the door as it opened. The two of them stepped inside of it. "There's nobody here," she whispered. He said, looking around when he suddenly noticed several dead bodies in the lab. "Wait, what the hell?" he asked. He looked, seeing a few alive and restrained zombies hooked up to machines. One was on a treadmill. With him distracted, Alice grabbed a syringe and pocketed it without him noticing. "I've been experimenting on the dead to see she said before he interrupted her. I could care less what sick and nasty it you do. I'm looking for my friends. A Hispanic woman, your age, he told her. I don't know, she stated. That's not good enough, he told her. Well, what do you want from me? I'm only a small-time doctor here, she told him. I don't give a shit what you are, because I'm not leaving without her and the others. So you're not leaving me until I do, he told her. If you're a doctor, you must know all the new people who get brought here, he told her. I'm only a third-class doctor. I specialize more with them. This place doesn't work like that, she told him. Your leader, General Miles. Where is he? He asked. Probably in the private dormitories at this hour. Suddenly, the speaker went off. Hello, Black Wolf. I know you can hear me. We know you're hiding. It's a real shame you're hiding when your friends need you. The voice on the speaker stated. What the hell? He asked. It's the community intercom. Every building has one, she told him. Where's it coming from? He demanded. Building A, she told him. Outside, Benjamin and Alice were walking when they saw soldiers. He hit her as they ducked, trying not to be seen. She fiddled with her sleeve as another announcement went off. Don't you want to save your friends? Carla, Sean, Peter, William, and the others? Dallas asked. Benjamin tossed a smoke grenade at them as he fired his gun, hitting the soldiers as the gunfire erupted loudly. Suddenly, several grenades were launched as Benjamin saw they were smoke and tear gas. Alice coughed as he fired more shots, hitting the rest of them. Watch friendly! Watch friendly! They shouted. Come on! He told her. They moved quickly to a random building. Benjamin saw another locked door. Suddenly, Benjamin looked, seeing blood slowly pouring from his thigh and his left collar. Shh! It! He said, not realizing he was just shot twice. Time is running out for your friends, Black Wolf, Trevor said. Suddenly, without noticing, Alice jammed a syringe in Benjamin's back as Benjamin felt the massive pain of a large needle in his lower neck. Alice backed away terrified as Benjamin slowly turned to her. What the hell did you just do? He asked, grabbing it before pulling it out. Alice ran as fast as she could as Benjamin's vision became blurry and his legs began to feel heavy. It was a sedative. He used his card, swiping a box, opening the door. Benjamin fired wildly, killing a soldier. He's in here! They shouted, firing back. Benjamin went through the building as he waited for a minute, his adrenaline to kick back in. His vision stopped being as blurry. As he stepped inside, he then used a shelf barricading the door with it. He heard crying. Benjamin then moved forward as blood kept dripping from his body, doing his best to ignore the pain. He looked around. It was concerningly quiet, minus the crying, as he looked through the hallways. In one of the rooms, Liza was watching a monitor as Benjamin came onto the screen. Benjamin turned back before pulling out his gun and firing it to strike her. She laughed as she turned to someone. We got further than we anticipated, she told him. He did. But let's see if he makes it to the last test, the man in the shadow said. As Benjamin went further into the building, hearing the crying man, he looked around to make sure it wasn't a trap. As he looked around, he saw the crying man strapped into a chair. He was wearing a CRM uniform. He kept shaking, asking for help. Benjamin checked his back and looked around as he grabbed the bag, swiftly pulling it from him as he looked to see. It was one of the patrolmen from the road, Kenton, snarling at him, zombified. He remembered seeing him every time when he left the city on the road. He had a tape recorder on his neck that was playing his cries. As he growled, he was just another walker standing right in front of him. Benjamin grabbed the tape recorder and smashed it against the ground, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Suddenly, the door behind him closed as it flashed a bright red light. Shit! Benjamin ran forward, trying the card. It didn't work as Benjamin looked. He tried some other card, unlocking it. He ran in the hallways when the soldiers were chasing him. "Block him off!" they said when Benjamin took a grenade and threw it, throwing smoke and tear gas back at them. "Masks on!" they screamed. They put their masks on and went past it as Benjamin saw and cursed. He didn't have a mask. Benjamin moved from the other direction and saw several grenades of tear gas went off next to him. Benjamin tried to move into the other direction as the gas blocked him. Benjamin fired his gun, hitting a soldier as he was getting shot at. There were too many. He had no more grenades left as more gas was coming. Almost bone-dry of ammo, he was boxed in. Benjamin fired his rifle, emptying it, to back them off. Benjamin decided to act. He went through the massive cloud of smoke and tear gas, covering his face. Back in the security room. "He made it through," she told him. "Impressive. He's gonna make it to the arena," he told her. "Should we stop him?" she asked. "No. Trevor will be there waiting for him," he told her. "Are you sure you want him to greet your special guest?" "You know how Trevor is," she asked. "I know what I'm doing. I'll head there if things get too messy," he told her. As Benjamin was moving place to place, he was exhausted, covered in blood as he was starting to get flashes. The drug Alice injected him with was taking its effect. Benjamin was getting woozy, hearing voices, not to mention bleeding. He had to keep fighting. He heard the intercom go off. "Wow, still trying to get away from us even though you've clearly lost. You're either incredibly persistent or stupid, or both." "Yeah, I'm gonna say both," he stated. As Benjamin made it through, he saw another set of doors, but it was locked. He then noticed an elevator as it opened, releasing soldiers. Benjamin hid from their sight as they were coming closer to him. Their radios went off. Benjamin saw a camera. It was hopeless. No matter where he hid, the cameras would pick up every move. And then the soldiers would find and kill him. He realized that the soldiers were able to keep finding him because someone is telling them where he was. Benjamin opened fire again, killing 3, and ran from them, hitting the right hallway. He was completely out of ammo now, being reduced to his pistols. He looked, seeing some more. He tried firing his gun at them, hitting them in the chest, but their vests protected them. "Damn Patriots!" Benjamin screamed as he used one of the key cards, getting in the door. He then used his belt and tied it around the handles so they wouldn't get in. Benjamin noticed they couldn't get in and took a deep breath as he felt like he was going to pass out any second. He felt so weak. He was completely drained of strength, but he had to keep moving. He had to find Carla and the others. Even if the others didn't make it, he'd be okay if he found her and Sean. Benjamin noticed that he was in some sort of interior garage. He saw metal doors as it was completely black. It was pitch black. He didn't see or hear anything. He could barely see his own hand right in front of him. He then finally heard something, but wished he didn't. He heard a walker somewhere. "Aren't the dead fascinating?" Trevor asked. "They don't need to see, breathe, or nothing." "But you do," he said, as Benjamin fell backwards, landing on his back, hitting something. He began touching it, and saw it was a bloody, devoured corpse. "Shit!" he screamed, as the walker jumped him. Benjamin braced his arm as it bit into his uniform. Luckily, it couldn't bite through his CRM cloth, but his head was completely exposed. This was the trap, and he stupidly fell right into it. Benjamin hit the walker in the head, knocking it down. Benjamin fired his gun, releasing a bullet into light. Benjamin had an idea. He raised his gun up, firing again as he looked around. He saw several more zombies coming towards him from the shadows. He didn't like giving his position away, but they'd find him sooner or later. Benjamin fired his gun, seeing 2 zombies in front of him as he memorized their positions and stabbed them both in their heads while in the dark, remembering their placements. "Wow, you're still alive. Good job. Do you want a good job trophy?" Trevor asked. Benjamin was fed up. "You piece of shit! Get your cowardly ass down here and face me like a man!" he screamed. Nah, I like my chances better," he stated. as suddenly more dead were coming as multiple sensor lights went off. It was so bright. Benjamin couldn't see a thing as he screamed and backed away from the harsh light. He was blinded. Oops! I'm so sorry. I thought you could use a nightlight. Is it too much for you? He asked, further infuriating him. Benjamin then heard more walkers coming for him as he ran into another direction, bumping into a walker. Benjamin punched it in the face over and over again before stabbing it. Benjamin looked around, seeing multiple zombies all around him. He was surrounded. Breakfast is served! Trevor Dellis joked, laughing maniacally. In the dark, we see Carla fighting multiple zombies off of her. She was completely exhausted, covered in blood. Hello? Is anyone out there? She asked. Multiple zombies were ganging up on her as she stabbed another one, but her knife broke into its skull. Shit! She said, screaming. Carla had 2 walkers on her. She pushed one of them off of her as another one was right on her. It knocked her down. She had no weapons, nothing to fight with. She grabbed the walker and gouged its eyes as she cried, struggling with it. Back with Benjamin. He tries to kill the dead, but one bites him in the shoulder. As he screams, they begin ripping his suit. He flips it over and stabs it in the head with his eyes closed from the blinding light. Carla! Where are you? Anyone! He screamed as dead zombies lay everywhere around him. Suddenly, Benjamin heard a hissing sound. It was tear gas, as he was violently coughing. He fired his gun at the lights, shooting the rest of them out, when all of a sudden, a bullet pierced his other leg. As he fell downwards, he clutched his newly bleeding leg. Alright, I'm getting bored. Let's try something a little different. The lights went down, as Benjamin kept clutching his leg and breathing heavily. Shit! I'm gonna kill you! He saw a large group of armed men, and Benjamin saw him, Trevor. He was standing right there. Benjamin looked. He had no more ammo, but he took his knife in his hand before, using all his remaining strength, launching it forward, nearly hitting Trevor in the head with it as he barely missed. Benjamin then pulled his machete. Take him! He ordered. The men raised their guns, but Benjamin wouldn't drop the blade. Damn you! What did you do to my friends? He shouted. You know, this whole thing is getting stale real quick. You don't seem to realize that you've already lost. You're bleeding all over my floor, and your people aren't yours anymore. They belong to the general now. As several soldiers got near Benjamin, he swiped at them, despite his weakened state. Benjamin slices one guy in the face before dodging another one's baton. Benjamin swiped up, using his knee to break his leg and take the baton before swinging it and hitting the man in the face with it. You incompetent idiots! Trevor screamed before firing his gun, hitting a soldier and then hitting Benjamin in his side. Benjamin dropped to the ground, bleeding, clutching his side as even more blood oozed from it before a baton clashed with his face, landing on his head. Everything was fuzzy. Back with Carla, she pushed the zombie off of her as another one came. She cried as it was getting close to biting her before a shot was fired. Carla breathed heavily as an unknown man stood before her. Private Ramirez? Is that you? The soldier asked. Carla was coughing. Thank you. Who are you? She asked. The man stepped forward. It's okay. I got you, he told her, helping Carla up. Benjamin was brought in front of Trevor. You know, as much fun as this was, you caused a lot of trouble for me and my... But Benjamin spit blood in his eye before he could finish, interrupting him. Ew! Ew! Shit! That is nasty as shit! You could have gotten into my mouth, you sick shit! Bring him to the others, he ordered as the soldiers dragged him. Benjamin was too restrained to do anything. His vision was blurry and fuzzy. He couldn't make out much. The soldiers dragged him before dropping him downwards as he collapsed from exhaustion. One soldier struck him on the back. Easy, man. We don't want to kill him. Screw that. Look what that monster did to our guys. This monster has to be put down, if you ask me. Benjamin heard that word again. Monster. Is that all he was? Is that all he was ever going to be? He was a friend, husband, brother, and leader. But he never could escape the fear others had for him. He was still just a monster in the world, even in this one. Benjamin was beyond tired and hurt, bleeding all over. He tried holding his wounds tightly as best he could. He heard more zombies. He saw a knife next to him, but it was dull and not sharp. He grabbed onto it as he looked on and could barely make out 3 zombies right in front of him. They were floating. No, hanging on something. He looked closer and saw that each of them had a rope near them. They all had on nooses. The zombies were hanging by their necks. There was something about those walkers that didn't seem right. He looked on closer. They were fresh, unlike the other ones he fought. Benjamin saw that Trevor was there. What? Didn't you want to see them? I thought you did. What kind of a friend are you? He asked as he tossed something to the ground. It was a tag. Benjamin slowly grabbed it and looked back at the hanging zombies and saw the first walker. Young, African-American male, late 20s, with some facial hair. It was William. He hanged on the rope, growling at him. Benjamin turned his head and looked at the next one. He then saw an older man, mid-40s. He had mid-length brown hair. It was Peter. It was definitely him, as he hanged on the rope, swinging back and forth. He then looked to the last walker on the noose hanging by the neck. It sounded softer, different from the others. It was shorter and skinnier, as Benjamin couldn't see it with the light blinding him. He then looked back at the tag he picked up. Ramirez, Carla E. 590970075 B negative. Benjamin held on to them as he stood up, looking as the light went away, seeing the final walker hanging on the rope. Benjamin was horrified and devastated to see that it was indeed Carla. She was snarling at him. Benjamin was crying, with tears in his eyes, seeing her like that. She was dead. No, even worse. Here. I know you can't wait to reunite, Trevor stated, shooting the ropes off of them. William fell first off the platform as he rolled and flipped over a bunch of times. Benjamin snapped out of it as William came charging at him. Benjamin tried to push him back, but he was so weak. Benjamin screamed and aimed his knife, stabbing into him, but the dull knife wouldn't go through. Benjamin struck it into his eye and managed to flip him over, forcing William to fall face first on the knife. Trevor looked on, holding a camera, smiling. Benjamin then looked as he saw Peter now grabbed onto him. Benjamin had no weapon now. He put Peter in a chokehold as he snarled back at him, trying to get free. Benjamin tossed him back and forth as Trevor looked on, further enjoying the brutality. Benjamin snapped his neck. Peter dropped to the ground and was having trouble getting back up, as Benjamin then put his foot down on his head. Benjamin screamed as he stomped on his head over and over and over and over again. His eyeballs were sticking out as Benjamin turned and then saw Carla finally coming towards him. Benjamin was tackled, having no more strength left. Benjamin screamed as Carla snared and growled at him. She bit into his chest, trying to get through his uniform, as Benjamin punched her, pushing her back. Benjamin crawled back. He then thought about the first day they met, all the times they saved each other, and sat down to talk. Their failed first dates, and when she was dying from the poison, the movie nights, Her speech that she gave him at the wedding, it was all gone. Now, they'd never have memories like that ever again. She was gone. Benjamin cried in heartbreak as he screamed. He tackled her, knocking her back. Benjamin cried on her face, tears and blood all over him, as droplets fell on Carla's snarling face. Her eyes were whitened, with no sign of life in them. He knew that his best friend was now like every other walker, every zombie he ever killed. I'm sorry, Carla! He jammed his thumbs into her eyes and then lifted her head before bashing her downwards as she screamed. Trevor watched on. Holy shit, he said as he watched on. Benjamin continued to think about all the good and hard memories with Carla. Everything they've been through, everything they did together. He lifted her up again and bashed her head again onto the ground, creating a blood spot on the gravel pavement. Benjamin cried again as he lifted her head up a third time and slammed her down. He did this again, and then again, and then again. He was coughing, as she was still not dead, as he swiftly bashed her head over and over again, this time going into a complete insane frenzy, not stopping, as he slammed her down relentlessly, as she cried one last moan, not growling anymore. It was finished. She was finally dead. Benjamin cried as he took his fingers out of her eye sockets, as he looked, seeing so much blood on his hands. It was done. Suddenly, he heard a clapping sound. He looked and saw him, Marcus. Everyone saluted him as he walked past all of them. Well, you impressed me. Congratulations, Benjamin Hunter. You've exceeded my expectations, he told him. The soldiers were all around Benjamin as he looked on. You see, I knew where your people were for a long time. About 6 months ago, my soldiers came across a group of raiders. One of them had some pretty interesting things to say about you all, but mostly you. We've been watching you all for several months. We're not sure how you knew about us and our headquarters, but we'll find out soon enough. Commander Eliza Brooks stepped forward. Once General Miles posed as a lone wanderer, we knew you'd do everything you could to keep him away from your people and us. By separating yourself, we were able to take control of the hydro plant and displacement center in swift motion. He used our frequency jammers to kill all communications for your people, she stated. Yes, thank you, Commander. You see, I was never really Marcus Corbat. It was risky sending myself as a spy, but I knew you wouldn't have let me join because I was too dangerous. But I had to keep you interested in me. I had to show you how valuable I was without you turning me over to the commander. We made sure to set the trap for you, and you fell right into it, he told Benjamin. You separated yourself from your people to keep our attention on you, but that left you and them completely exposed, because without you, they were easy to pick off one by one. Honestly, it's nothing personal. William and Peter were good men, but they were collateral damage. And as for Carla, well, she should have known better to wear one of those wretched uniforms from those people. You're probably wondering when we're gonna kill you. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but we're not doing that. We're not going to kill you. You're going to be my soldier now. You're my hostage, because now that I have you, your people will do anything to keep you safe. They relied on you for everything. That's the interesting thing about leaders. Have you ever played chess? Once you take out the king, you win the war. No matter how many losses you have, the pawns are just that, pawns. You and I are not so different. I can see that. The monster inside of you. The killer. We make the hard choices so they don't have to, because they're weak. They make us feel strong. Even if they'll hate us for our acts of brutality, we keep them alive no matter what. This whole thing was all a test. Welcome to the Patriots. You're one of us now. I know you came across the CRM. I did too a few years back. Unlike you, though, they took everything from me. They're your real enemies. Not the dead or the living. The dead are just a nuisance. And while we started out on the wrong foot, you'll see we're on your side. All we want is to wipe them all and protect the American dream. Create a nation again where people can live their lives and work and be safe with their families. Unfortunately, to get there, some tough decisions have to be made. Word of advice: you and your friend should not wear those uniforms ever again. They raise attention, and we had a feeling you all weren't really them. But I suspected you had some kind of an alliance of some sort with them. Turns out, you're just a band of teenagers that got lucky. No matter, surviving against them is still not an easy feat to make. You took out a dozen of my guys single-handedly. We all need to join together, because this constant fighting against the dead and each other for resources won't matter if they come for us all. General Miles then leaned forward. So, what do you say, Benjamin Hunter? Benjamin was wiping the tears from his face as he looked at how outmatched he was. He only had one thing he could say right now after everything that just happened. Fuck you! Benjamin spit at him. Everyone was in complete silence. Miles looked disappointed. How dare you speak to the general like that? Liza shouted. He held on her back. Stand down, Commander. Don't you think I can defend myself? Put this wild dog in his place? He asked. Bring the brat, he ordered. Suddenly, a large door opened as Benjamin saw several soldiers bringing a traumatized and gagged Sean. Sean looked on in horror with tears in his eyes as he saw Benjamin. Sean! Benjamin screamed, trying to get up. Not one more step, or I order Trevor to kill him right here, right now. You really want to lose another friend tonight? He asked. Benjamin was shocked, unable to do anything. Poor kid. He gave up your home to save her. Saved him, though, he told him. General Miles has won. He either breaks you or puts you in the ground. Count yourself lucky that you and one of your friends are still alive. If I were you, I'd make my next choice of words very carefully, she told him. Benjamin looked, seeing Sean turning back and forth screaming. While muddled, it sounded like "Don't do it. Kill them all." Sean was furious, trying to get free as the men held him down. Back in the past 3 years ago, we see Carla talking to John. I'm sorry your unit left you, he told her. This world is turning everyone against each other, he stated. You should go. Look for your family, she told him. I'll just get you killed. Nonsense. I'm not going anywhere. We're a team now. Besides, I heard some rumors about this walled-off neighborhood in Mercer County. Might be something to it. I don't think I'll make it there by myself anyways. Would love the backup, he stated. I'm not a soldier, she stated. Bullcrap. You're a soldier. As long as you have a desire to defend the weak and fight danger and give your all in the good cause, you're a soldier. What they did was messed up. If you say you didn't kill the lieutenant, then I believe you. You don't seem like the kind of person who would do something like that, he stated. I'm sorry, what was your name again, sir? She asked. Sergeant Jonathan Mars, he told her. Private Carla Ramirez, she said back, shaking his hand. Well, Private, we better get going. We've got quite the journey to make, he stated. Carla smiled as she followed him, leaving the building as she closed the door behind her. In the present, Benjamin lowered his head. You win. I'll do it. Just don't hurt him, he stated. You're in no position to ask that, but since I'm tired as hell, I'm going to stop with the killing for today. I have better things to do. Glad to hear you finally see it my way. You and the kid will be leaving here with us from now on. You will be reporting directly under me as my subordinate, but trust me, if you so much as even think of crossing me or doing some stupid rebellion against me, I'll kill the boy too, and everyone else in your community, he warned him. Move out, he ordered. Liza, you take the brat back to quarters. Oh, and bring someone here before he bleeds to death. Understood, General, she said, taking Sean. Sean tried to call for Benjamin. Benjamin looked on, helpless. His fighting spirit was gone. He had no more adrenaline left in him, blood all over him dripping down his uniform. He took one last look at Carla. Her beautiful face was nothing more than a bloody mess with gouged out eyes as the blood continued to pour onto the ground. The men wrapped her body and began to carry it. Benjamin breathed heavily as the blood was getting worse, much worse. He was profusely bleeding more than ever now, as his breathing was getting heavy. Everything became slow and blurry as he fell face first down onto the concrete ground. Sound and all movement slowed down. Benjamin could hear the faint sound of Sean calling out to him before his eyes and ears gave up as he was taken over in complete darkness. It was over. He lost.